see it streaming yet here. It's live, but I'm not getting it.
Is it?
Yeah, it's live.
Oh, okay. So we're, so
Yeah.
we should sit down.
All right. Hey, good evening. We're just pulling it up on our laptop.
As we're making our way here. Okay, so I get a phone.
There we are.
You get it?
Right. I'm going to come in a little bit closer, Max.
Okay.
So you tell me.
Oh, that's fine. How are we on that? Okay, I'm on that side. Hi, everybody. Look, we're getting likes and we're getting comments. People are coming on. So good to see you all. We have to, I have to get on myself so I can see. Are they hearing us? Oh,
Yeah, we want to go ahead and do an audio check first and foremost. So if we could get a thumbs up or two for the audio check, please, that would be great.
Yeah. Where's it at? How can this?
All right, just refresh your screen, Mace. Go to
C4?
yeah, and refresh. Down below, it'll come up.
I'm usually the technologically
There it is.
savvy person in the family.
All right. So do I got a good audio check?
I have I don't
Go
see-
to the comments. Make it big and go to your comments. And then sweep left or right.
Oops, here we go. So Marianne and Mary are watching.
All right, can they, Marianne and Mary, can you guys hear us?
Can you hear us? Can you give us a thumbs up if you can? Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So, good evening. It's just after 8 o'clock. I'm Chris Lukasevich, Republican candidate for Carbon County Commissioner, your host for Carbon Matters live streaming, and I'm joined this evening, as like every evening, by my wife, Maggie. And over about the next 45 minutes, we're going to be discussing the issues that matter most to the residents of Carbon County. And really, we're focused on the most significant events of the last 2 weeks. And the purpose of this conversation with you is threefold. First and foremost, it is to introduce myself to you so you better understand my vision and eventually where I would like to carry the county to. It is about having an informed conversation with each and every one of you, or informed chat, and similarly helping us all be better educated in the realm of the issues that are so important to us, so we are able to do a better job when we go to the ballot box on 21 May and then once again on 5 November. As always, the sponsor of Carbon Matters live streaming is Cafe Ruiz from Boquete in Panama, but you can order it from Ruiz Coffee USA. That's R-U-I-Z, the word coffee, USA. So thanks to Leah Peck for being the official sponsor of not only Carbon Matters, but also the principal provider of coffee for C4, the political committee, Chris, for Carbon County Commissioner. So we're going to go ahead and get started. As always, we like to start kind of on the light side and then move into the heavier topics. I would like to mention up front that I did extend an offer to Liberty Power, the project manager and his team at Liberty Power. They're responsible for the planned project up on the Broad Mountain. And equally so, I extended an invitation to both organizations opposing wind turbines in their respective areas. So the folks out in Penn Forest Township, Toa-Mensing, that area, and then the group Say No to Wind Turbines in Carbon County, which is really a Packard Township focused project, which Liberty Power is leading up. Again, had no takers on that. I didn't necessarily expect there would be, but I did want to offer the opportunity to all three of those organizations to have a conversation with us, with you this evening. If you're just tuning in, well, Thank you for joining us on Carbon Matters live streaming. And tonight, we are going to try to do a little phone-in opportunity. And the first person who does call in, once we open up the lines, will get a free C4 mug. And that first cup of coffee is on me at C4 headquarters, right on the 1200 block of Center Street in Jim Thorpe. So look forward to the opportunity to call 570-503-6780. And I did forward that number to Maggie's phone, so we'll see if that works, but that is my actual number, and that's the one I provide to everyone when they want to reach out and have a conversation with me, Chris Lukasevich, Republican candidate for Carbon County Commissioner. So let's go ahead and get started.
We have a comment
All right, good.
from Eamon.
Yeah, Eamon, thank you for joining us.
Yes. He says, why is the county so hell-bent to build by the church? Why not build an existing lot?
It appears, Eamon, that the three commissioners made a decision without consultation of the equity holders, the stakeholders. They determined it was in the best interest of the employees and the court system to put it in that location. I think most of us understand, and we're going to get into this a little bit deeper because there is a couple articles on that, that at the end of the day, there were other options, as you're alluding to. There were other options out there to include behind the annex, potentially in the parking lot, and then even others within Jim Thorpe itself. So there's a lot of other options. I always have a challenge because I believe, county government tends to throw money at problems, and that is they simply hire a consultant to get them the answers they want, in lieu of forming working groups from the good, intelligent, highly qualified people that often work in our county government. This seems to be the one time where the commissioners came up with this idea all on their own, and I think that's what's putting us in the position today, because we have not been able to get any information on any formal analysis that was done even by a consulting group when it pertains to the specific locations and the pros and cons of it being placed. I believe it's actually 44 Susquehanna Street, obviously where the old archives building was, and current maintenance building that is actually transitioning up under the bridge. And we're going to talk more about that in a few minutes. So it was good. At last week's commissioner meeting, be aware there was no commissioner's meeting this week because of the funeral and burial of Emmett McCall, the recorder of deeds. But this past week, last week, we did recognize 4-H at the commissioners meeting, and you'll see a little bit later in the year also they'll be flying the 4-H flag for a week down at the courthouse. So a great program, 4-H, developing leadership, responsibility in youth. It's like FHA, like Boy Scouts, all those great organizations that help develop skills in youth, help individuals mature in many ways to include discipline, civics, being a responsible citizen and a responsible person. So again, hats off to the folks in 4-H who are so committed to their work and farming, which is so critical to our nation. All right. So then on, and I did want to bring up again the passing of Emmett McCall. I believe everyone is pretty well aware of Emmett McCall. Almost 2 decades, if I recall, working in county government, but many years tied to Irish organizations in the area. Very, very good public servant. I've only ever heard positive things about Emmett McCall and the people in his office. So hats off, first and foremost, to his office, and condolences, though, to Emmett, his family, and the people he has worked with for these many years, and those of us who've had the pleasure or opportunity to be served by him or know him. So rest in peace, R.I.P. Emmett McCall.
Our deepest sympathies too.
Yep, that's great. And again, if you're just joining us, this is Carbon Matters live streaming. I'm Chris Lukasevich, Republican candidate for Carbon County Commissioner, and I'm joined by my wife Maggie, as always. Keep in mind, we're here being sponsored by Cafe Ruiz, Right, Ruiz Coffee USA, finest coffee coming out of Panama in the coffee growing region of Boquete. That I will tell you, that coffee growing region was first cultivated by the great grandfather of Maggie Lukasiewicz, Papa Lalo. So again, I don't want to say this is great coffee. That's what I'll say. Let's leave it at that. But Leah Peck and David Peck up in Strongsville, Ohio. Again, thank you so much for providing the coffee for C4 and for sponsoring this show. Maggie and actually my son Taylor are both volunteers for AARP tax preparation. Maggie, this is your fourth year?
Fourth year.
Right, every year since you've come back. Well, I went down to visit her in the Lehighton Senior Center and had the opportunity to meet a gentleman who I mentioned just 2 weeks ago before, World War II veteran Clarence Smoyer. And he was highlighted by combat cameramen in World War II during a confrontation, a hostile action in Cologne, Germany. And his story of his tank, spearhead by Adam Makos. The reason I bring up Clarence is because while Maggie was doing tax prep, I went up and talked to a couple people who were just sitting here. I noticed a gentleman with a veteran's hat on, and indeed it was Clarence Smoyer. And had about 15 or 20 minutes to speak to Clarence and folks he was sitting with. There he is there on a Sherman tank. So hats off to Clarence. I believe he's about 95 years old. And that's a great story, Spearhead. Yesterday, the day before yesterday, I was actually doing some campaign work in Lehighton around 11th Street. I actually found the individual who was the advocate for getting the story of Clarence published. And they are now working on finding someone actually to produce a movie based on the book Spearhead, which highlights the tank crew. Now, if you remember, there was a tank movie that came out a couple years ago.
Glorious Bastards.
No.
Sorry.
Remember, it was just about the tank crew. And at that, no, it was not actually.
Oh, okay.
But it may have been called Tank or something. If anyone knows, please go ahead and chat that in.
Obviously, I'm thinking of a different movie.
Yeah, it was just about the tank.
It was with
Brad Pitt. With Brad Pitt.
That's Inglourious Bastards.
I don't think so.
We can get Taylor up here and he can tell you.
All right. What about that little thing, Siri thing or something also? Hey, but nonetheless, so they are looking at making this into a movie. During that, a few years ago, though, they looked at it, but no one would pick up the story because they already had one tank movie. And Hollywood did think another tank movie would sell. And that's kind of funny because Hollywood tends to copycat all the time. Once you see one genre, you keep having more. All right, so let's go ahead and move into something a little bit heavier here. 2 weeks ago, we had Bing Wong, the health journalist for The Morning Call, joined by Jarrett Soto of Lansford, the President Council.
Maybe not, you're right.
What was the name of it?
No,
okay. You get to it. All right, so Lansford sees a big decline in property values. And I would argue that's a harbinger of bad things to come. Lansford is already challenged. Maggie, do we have a comment there?
Christian Bartulovich. I think it was called Fury. Yeah.
Fury. You got it, Christian.
Fury.
Thank you so much. And Christian, I just want to mention that Christian Bartulovich will be joining us in 2 weeks, from today. He'll be here. We've also invited another candidate for a supervisor position in one of the Carbon County municipalities. But our desire is in 2 weeks to have Christian Bartulovich plus one other candidate supervisor to join us. We'll have them discuss the issues specific to their municipalities, and then we'll try to do that Venn diagram and see where communities are having similar problems or not. Because we do have a council of governments here in Carbon County where many of the municipalities are already working together for things like buying common pieces of equipment, street sweepers, leaf suckers, or whatever those vehicles are called. So again, it'll be interesting to have Christian join us with a fellow candidate for a supervisor position. So Lansford sees a big decrease in property values. The concern, of course, is when you have a decrease in property values, governments see a necessity to raise millage rates. You raise millage rates, that continues that vicious cycle. And we have great concern for the Panther Valley School District. It is in pretty dire situation. I mean, it's not on its death knell, but we're hearing maybe 3 to 5 years if we don't see some type of recovery of the property values. It seems like up in the Panther Valley School District, we're not getting the best bang for our buck. And those Lansford, Nesquehoning, Summit Hill, plus just across the line in Coaldale, they clearly have the highest property taxes assessed by the school districts in all Carbon County. So very challenging for the folks up in Lansford. I would also keep in mind, we're going to talk about it in a few minutes, the wind turbines. Within a couple miles, within view of wind turbines, property values do decrease. Summit Hill is less than 2 3/4 miles from the 21 665-foot wind turbines planned for the Broad Mountain. So it would be reasonable to expect that property values could be further depressed if those wind turbines go up. But again, that's something we're going to have to continue to track and look at as Packard Township makes decisions or has to go ahead and confront that issue. And there is a pretty strong movement opposed to the wind turbines up there. And we will talk more about that. Wow, so Eamon brought it up first. So thanks, Eamon. But there it is. Carbon seeks $12 million for projects. So 3 years ago in 2016, the county took out $7.75 million in long-term debt. Now we have another $12 million. That puts us almost to $20 million. Plus there was some residual. So we're up to about the equivalent of, under this current regime, triumvirate of the three up there, of about $24 million in long-term debt. That's the equivalent of a 16 mil increase. And that's what we call smoke and mirrors. So instead of telling us, the taxpayers, that we're going to increase your mill rate by 18 points, instead they just take out long-term debt. So not only us, but our children and grandchildren will have to pay for projects. Some of them are needs, but things like 110 space parking garage are actually just wants. So that's something we have to continue to be concerned with. Now, this is primarily going to go towards offsetting the cost of the new facility, 2-level parking garage, and the needed, to some degree, added office space for the courts down on Susquehanna Street. And in regards to that, there is an opposition group that has formed, SOS, Save Our Sanctuaries, City and Town, and they are focused on Church and Town, excuse me, yes, Save Our Sanctuaries, Church and Town, and they are really focused on the concern or issues that would impact, that is, the construction would impact in regards to historic St. Mark's Church. Not only the structure itself, the Tiffany glass, and other invaluable objects,
irreplaceable, priceless
projects there. And then tomorrow, Saturday night, starting at 7 o'clock, Mock Chunk Ballroom, Good Vibrations Dance, great Jim Thorpe DJ, Dave Gasker is going to be spinning the records or something.
We're going to be doing Beach Boys kind of music. We were saying beach attire encouraged, but that means more like aloha shirts, that kind of thing.
Right.
No bikinis.
Right.
Although
it's not restricted.
What's that?
It's not restricted.
No,
but
if you
it's
want
beach
to,
attire.
you can.
Right.
I've heard that someone's going to be wearing coconut top and grass skirt. So
right.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's Saturday night, 7 o'clock, Mock Chunk Ballroom.
There's going to be a 50-50.
Yep.
There's going to be we have $100 in a $100 value in lottery board, which could be thousands. And there's going to be a raffle of one of the wood carved eagles from a stump from the Winter Fest that the guy did with the chainsaw is going to be raffled off, and there's going to be one more. I can't remember what.
But I mean, they are going to have alcoholic drinks, so it is for right one alcoholic
one
drink.
type. It's the Malibu Bay Breeze.
I thought there was beer.
Oh yeah, well you're right.
That's an alcoholic drink.
Never think of that.
Yeah, all right.
But
one
right.
mixed drink.
Yeah, one
and
mixed
one
drink,
beer.
and then they're gonna have beers and sodas. Water.
Yeah. So we have
and
well over.
Food is included.
Yep, and we have well over 100 people who said are interested in are coming. And so, but we'd like to max out the capacity of the Mock Chunk Ballroom.
There's 200 person capacity. We really need people to come out so that we can add to the legal fund, because right now, you want to mention that?
Well, yeah, and anyone can chime in. And if someone wants to call in, we'd love to give it a chance. Like if Mary Teresa wants to come in for a minute or two, or someone else, just make a comment. 570-503-6780. We just saw the injunctions against two injunctions that were filed against the borough of Jim Thorpe, and that was in the paper just a couple nights ago. So again, don't hesitate to call 570-503-6780.
Eamon wants a clarification. Wind turbines, are they talking on the Broad Mountain?
Yes, the Broad Mountain on Nesquehoning property.
Yeah.
That would be 21 of them, 665 feet high. There was an ordinance signed by Tommy Gerhart Jr., now Commissioner Tommy Gerhart, when he was a Packer Township supervisor in 2008. It was probably one of the weakest wind ordinances in the United States of America. That's my description of it from reading it. It was basically, giving a wide opening the doors for wind turbine farms within Packer Township. And matter of fact, that property that it's all the turbines is actually going on to a Kovach property, all 21. So John Kovach or the Kovach Trust will be the primary private beneficiary, probably will reap the most financial reward from this project, of course, outside of Liberty Power in Algonquin, who they're working on. But it's interesting because I mentioned it a few weeks ago that, there's a connection. Tommy Gerhart is pro-turbine. He wrote or had the turbine ordinance for Packer drafted in 2008. Again, one of the weakest ones that I've ever read. I've only read a handful, but they're definitely much, much more stricter. He himself had an article or some comments that were written in a 2008 article where he clearly stated he welcomed turbines. He didn't care if they were 80 feet or more. He wanted them in Packer Township. And guess what, Tommy Gerhart? You're getting them because there's nothing, it's almost inevitable based upon the current ordinance. And, it's a fight worth fighting, but it's going to be extremely challenging. I just want to show you this. I review all the financial filings of all candidates because I was trying to develop and continue to develop a budget for my own campaign. So I was down there getting the end of year filings. There, so you see, this is there. There's a filing from the re-elect Tom Gerhart. That's from this year, right? And as I talk about pay to play in Carbon County, you can see there, John and Sharon Kovach, $2,500 contribution to Tommy Gerhart. So guess who isn't opposed to wind turbines, right? Yet, in a public forum, 3 witnesses would have been a week, or Sunday, right? It would have been a week ago last Sunday. Tommy Gerhart, according to 3 witnesses, was telling individuals not only he, but including the commissioners, were opposed to turbines. Now, in last week's public session of the Board of Commissioners, when I asked that question, Wayne Notestein said, they really had no position. But Tommy Gerhart himself would not answer the question of would his position on, nor would he admit to the fact that he took $2,500 from John and Sharon Kovach on 21 December of this past year. Is it coincidence that all of a sudden the turbine issue pops up and there's a gift of $2,500 4 days before Christmas? Now people say, well, that doesn't go into his pocket. No, but if you contributed $2,500 to my campaign, that's $2,500 I don't have to take out of my savings or retirement. Keep in mind also, Susie Gerhardt, the wife of Tommy Gerhardt, is a Packard Township supervisor. So again, follow the money, as folks say.
I'm answering Eamon. He asked, so it's more on Kovach property, it's not on state game lands.
Well, none of it is on state game land.
It's all on Kovach, and it's there are a couple other entities that have right of ways, like for access to. Mr. Postapuck and Hazelton Electric are kind of the access. There was originally going to be one of the turbines on Hazelton Electric LLC property. However, as they redid or reshaped the plan, it all moved on to Kovach property. Now, keep in mind that this Kovach property is called, I believe it's called an HCA. If you look at the game land regulations, and I posted a map previously, it's Hunter Cooperative Stat Access. So the Kovaches, or the trust, or back then Sonny Kovach, it's land that adjoins a state game land that a private person allows hunters to access. And so that's where this is being built, partially on that HCA. Now, the Kovaches had said, and so had Liberty Power in their public hearings, or public, briefing, that area will remain open to hunting up there on the Broad Mountain. And again, if you want to give us a call, 570-503-6780. Get that C4 mug and that first cup of coffee. Yeah.
All right. Well, a couple weeks ago, we saw Mr. Bennett down in Lehighton area on 443 having some challenges. PennDOT wanted to declare eminent domain on quite a few properties, really going from what we refer to as Carbon Plaza all the way down 443, as they're doing a widening project all the way to the Thomas J. McCall Bridge. So they want to put in a third lane, a turning lane, to increase the flow of traffic. It seems like Mr. Bennett's appeal to the borough of Lehighton and to PennDOT has not been successful, and PennDOT has filed a plan to take that land. It's really, I believe it was for stormwater management, primarily along the roads.
And unfortunately, it's one of the prime real estate locations for a business that would actually bring jobs to the area, but instead it's going to just be for stormwater.
Yeah, because those jobs at Taco Bell are great.
Right.
Well, so that's what I mean.
No, if it was like a Target, like Jane said before,
yeah, right, yeah,
that would be great. That would give a lot of people
but these
jobs.
are pretty, the parcels aren't that big, but
the parcel's big enough for Target.
Yeah. All right.
And it already has a traffic light and a driver going into it, so it would be perfect.
Yeah. So again, though, definitely hate to see government taking any property away from anyone. Again, we're always trying to balance economic development with individual rights and stuff like that, and that's a tough call. And that's why you see the Penny's pipeline, why so many people were concerned, because that's going to go through private land and property. Interesting, the Carbon County Commissioners were opposed to the Penny's pipeline. They weren't opposed and had voiced no opposition to the Penn Forest turbines, nor have they voiced any opposition to the turbines up on Packard Township. Now, matter of fact, if we go back to 2015, both Wayne and Tommy took money from the Kovaches. That's $500, de minimis, which means may not be real significant. So some things, while not illegal, could be immoral or unethical. So just keep that in mind. And again, that was 2015, the $500 to Wayne and Tommy. But then you had the 21 December, $2,500 to Tommy. Merry Christmas, Tommy Gerhardt. and the Gerhardt family. Oh, we did have a brief. Oh yeah.
Eamon said, eminent domain is so wrong. Carbon County robbed the Smith family for the Penn Kidder School.
Yeah. Eamon, what Smith? Was that Edgar Smith? Was that James Smith? What Smith? There's a few different Smiths out there. As a matter of fact, condolences to my classmate Todd Smith, whose father Edgar has just passed away. That obituary was in the paper within the last couple days. Right. So Todd, I believe he's married to a Snur, if I recall correctly. I may be not spot on that. Again, condolences to you. I did drive out there to see if you were in the hardware store today, later this afternoon, but it was closed.
It's been closed.
Okay, all right. So hearts and prayers out to you.
Yeah, he hasn't responded yet. So
we'll
wait on that.
All right. So there was the head of workforce in Carbon County was at the commissioners meeting, and we did see that I believe the number was actually downgraded to about 170 some.
Bob's family.
Oh, Bob Smith. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a big yeah. Christian's a big loss for Penn Forest Township.
All right.
Marianne, we won't bring up that person. She mentioned, yeah, it's okay.
Okay. All right. So again, if you're just joining us, welcome. This is Chris Lukasevich, Republican candidate for Carbon County Commissioner. And you're watching Carbon Matters live streaming edition. We're trying to keep it down to about 45 minutes because taking a break from guests, but in 2 weeks from now, Christian Bartulovich, candidate supervisor for Penn Forest Township, will be joining us. Plus, we've extended an invitation to another township supervisor. If anyone is out there who is a candidate for a supervisor position, you can feel free to give me a call at 570-503-6780. We'll try to get you on in 2 weeks or in a future edition of Carbon Matters. Or you can email me at chris@c4commissioner.org also. So again, talking about the New England Motor Freight, had about 142 workers who did file for unemployment. Now the numbers of unemployed, it was originally looked like there were about 200 laid off. They downgraded those numbers to the 170s. There are still a few people who are still out there working. I suspect they're kind of in the shutdown process out there. There were indications or rumors that many other truck companies local, and I'm talking Lehigh Valley, had been reaching out to some individuals who were employed at New England Motor Freight. Again, though, the convenience of driving 5 or 10 minutes to work versus driving 50 minutes down to the Lehigh Valley, which according to the Census Bureau, American Community Survey, Carbon County workers have the longest average commute of all 67 counties. As unbelievable as it says, or as they say, I think it was around 30 to 31 minutes. Again, average commute. About just a couple percent are doing super commutes. That's 90 minutes or longer. So those folks probably living out in Penn Forest, Kidder Township, doing that commute into New York City, and things of that nature.
I've actually gotten some New England Freight people coming in to get their taxes done in Lehigh. It's a very sad thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there was announcements that some opioid treatment bills are in hearing. Nothing approved, but they are moving forward. And I don't know if Cindy is with us tonight, but she tends to be very well in tune to this particular topic, and she has a great Facebook page where issues in regards to abuse of drugs, opioid problems are addressed regularly. So I think one of the critical things is that coming out of these bills, they're trying to ensure there's that warm handoff so that individuals, when they come out of perhaps some type of facility, they're not just put out on the street, but there's actually someone there for them to say, hey, here are your next steps. Here is how we're going to help you. And again, it's right as they're being released, and it isn't, go see someone a week from now. There's what they call a warm handoff. So I think that's really positive. Okay, what else? Was there another, or two bills associated with that? Oh, yep. The other was discussed what provide for detoxification addiction treatment bed registry, right? So that's those individuals are having a challenge and addressing those challenges with them. So a little bit of movement there. And there's the board reviews the wind farm. So what had happened last Thursday, just prior to that, the Packard Township supervisor sent a letter to the Board of Commissioners asking for their assistance. No response from the Board of Commissioners. Carbon County Commissioners did not go on the record either in support or against a proposed wind farm in Packard Township. I really like, though, that last paragraph. The Commissioners, following questioning by Commissioner candidate Chris Lukasiewicz, who has made it known at previous Commissioners' meeting that he opposes the project, took no action regarding the request. So again, I don't expect Tommy and Wayne to take any action, but what I can understand, Bill O'Gork is the lame duck, right? He's not running for office. How can he in the Democratic Party not come out vocally opposed to the turbine? He is so opposed to the Penn East pipeline. He put his name on that same resolution proclamation saying that. So I can't understand why Bill O'Gork would not come out against this. He's so strongly opposed to the Penn East pipeline. Now we do know the Chrismans are strong Republicans. I don't know if, or excuse me, Democrats. The Chrismans are strong Democrats. So I don't know. That's why he supported that and not supporting other matters that are arguably just as significant as it comes to impact on our environment and natural beauty.
Eamon's asking, why do you oppose the project? It'd be a good time to bring up.
Eamon, thanks for the question. I oppose wind turbines for two reasons locally in these two particular projects. I have to clarify that. One, they destroy the viewscape, right? We grew up in Switzerland of America, and I truly believe that our ridge lines are a draw to tourism. It was a draw for me to come back to Carbon County. So one, they destroy the viewscape, those 665-foot guardians of the valley, as some refer to them as, you know. But just as importantly and concerning to me is that the facts are, within view, property values are depressed. And when property values are depressed, governments have to increase millage rates in order to compensate for the reduction in tax revenue. So for those two reasons, in these two particular cases, I'm opposed to them. Now, I will tell you from a national security perspective and the need for U.S. or American energy independence, I'm for alternative fuels. Hydro, water, wind, solar, nuclear, bring it all on. Just thermal, yeah, another, right? But the fact is, it's where you put it that concerns me. Okay, I'll get into it. Not my backyard for wind turbines. Now, solar, absolutely. We have one of the largest solar farms east of Las Vegas, Nevada, right here in Nesquehoning. If you run up towards Lake Hado, in the autumn, you can see it. Excuse me.
Drink your water.
I would say if you go onto Google Earth, you could definitely see it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm opposed to it. Now, I think there are some less than strong arguments out there. I know one that keeps coming up are the amount of birds that wind turbines kill. Or bats. I will tell you, and the science is clear, millions of more birds are killed by your windshield than are ever going to be killed by wind turbine blades. So I would say if we want to take the wind turbine blades down, we might as well take our windshields off our cars also.
I think they say too the bats are drawn to, there's something about the sonic.
It may be. Yeah. It may be. And bats are critical to help keep the pest population.
Mosquitoes down.
So again, if I do recall, I'm the only candidate or actual
that has ever spoken up about
it. And not only have I spoken, I did carry a resolution to the Carbon County Commissioners and the 3 signatory communities of the Middle Carbon County Comprehensive Plan. And kudos to Jim Thorpe for signing a resolution demonstrating moral support for their fellow signatory to the Middle Carbon County Comprehensive Plan, Penn Forest Township.
And truly, they didn't have to do anything. They didn't have to provide money. They didn't have to do anything. It was just for moral support, saying we stand behind the people of Penn Forest, the residents of Penn Forest. They couldn't even do that.
Yeah, that was sad. And again, I still don't understand their reasoning, nor have they ever stated their reasoning. An interesting Saturday Times News. If you're not a regular Times News reader, I'm going to ask you to pick up the Saturday Times News. As a matter of fact, if you pick it up and you're not a regular reader, you bring that newspaper to me when you're done reading it, I'll reimburse whatever it cost you to buy it.
Amy's saying, so what is the income from solar versus cost on that farm, the wind turbine farm?
I don't know.
We would not have any idea. But we do know that for solar fields like that, the solar power is converted into credits, and then those credits go towards providing.
Yeah, that's one. That's one way to do it. You sell it to like PPL. PPL gives you credit. Yeah. So again, I'm telling you on this topic, Saturday Times News. Read the insert. So when you pick up your newspaper, if there's not a rubber band around it, an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper is going to drop out of it. And that 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper is going to look very much like that. Now, I can't let it too close or you'll be able to read it at this time, right? And then it's going to be on there. Buy that Times News. Yeah, a lot to read. Yeah, and it's not the Reader's Digest version. It's a Chris Lukasiewicz version.
Right. There's a lot there, but it's all worthwhile
reading.
Yeah. Worthy time investment. 10 minutes of your time.
Yep. So please read that. And again, for those of you who aren't subscribers of the hard copy, you bring me that newspaper, I'll even reimburse you for that because I think it's so important.
Eamon thinks he's being a pest. You're not being a pest.
Nope, that's good.
We're so grateful for your questions and for asking all those things, because that's what brings out even more responses from Chris than you wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Right. So, so thank you for that, Eamon. Yep. Very grateful. So talking, 70 acres is really the whole Packard and Yards complex, and
not
I think.
Anymore.
That's my job to bring up that article. Wow. I'll turn over the mic. Oh. All right. I think I actually can turn it so it just hears me. You switch that button. Yeah, it's
that would be great.
So 70 acres is a complex, and I know you guys have lived through the fiasco that has been the Packard and Yard failed attempt to, let me say, monetize that. But interesting, I've been spending a lot of time, talking to people lately, and we come up and see, without transparency, whoever knew before March 9th, Saturday, that Carbon was giving 26 acres of that Packard and complex to Lehighton. Now, giving. Now, and that's the problem I'm hearing from folks. We've lost time, money, and effort on Packard and Yards, and the commissioners, and I'm saying one in particular, understanding it's a political election year, is given 26 acres to his hometown. That's a fact. Giving 26 acres, it's an election year, giving it to his hometown. And who is he in cahoots to make that happen? Of course, that's with Tommy. Sorry to be so negative, but again, the facts are there. It's clear. So, again, is it okay to give those 26 acres away? There's no current development plan for those 26 acres. But I do believe Lehighton might be able to actually do something with it.
Oh, they are. They have plans.
Well, they're talking about access to Dunbar Beach. That is the plan as far as we go. But I think people can already access it. You go by the beverage store under the railroad tracks and you're on Dunbar Beach. I'm just saying. Again, though, best to Lehighton for trying to do it. If I was Lehighton, I was given 26 acres, as long as it isn't the 26 polluted acres, contaminated acres, I would probably take it too. Let's hope when they did that cleanup and remediated the Packard and Yards that indeed it was contaminant free or met the minimal standards of DEP. But any opinions on that? should we have given 26 acres away, or should have been there some type of expectation of revenue generation for the county to reimburse for the time, effort put into that? But again, for those remaining acres that are there, 40 some acres, again, read Saturday's Times News.
Okay, so Ed Glassett?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Chris, how badly do you believe we need to lean on alternative sources of energy? I guess this can be viewed as rhetorical, but I am still interested in hearing Chris's reply. Secondly, if any, what other options other than wind do you favor in the county?
Ed, I think second question first. I favor solar. Because I think it has a lower visual impact, and we have significant land in Carbon County that has been or is still contaminated and has little other viable uses. Packarding Yards might be an example. Now, I know there's been remediation that has done there, but I don't know if I'd want to convert that into a park where our children are playing long hours. It's going to be tough enough. You know, again, kids playing there, well, you're going to have to bus them in, you're going to have to car them in, but they could be playing fields down there. But I don't know if we want to subject the kids to that. And I also think once you start turning that soil over and over again, all that from the train yards down there is going to come back and be brought up to the surface. That which hasn't already leached into the water or the Lehigh River. So, you know, again, my point first and foremost, I'm a big proponent of solar, mostly in areas which have little other use. Now, think about this down at the zinc plant where they're bringing in the fill from New York and New Jersey. If that's never able to be developed into industrial or some type of plant space, might that not be another option for solar? Now, my thought on solar is you create the solar energy, you sell it back or provide it to PP&L. PP&L provides the municipality with the credits to offset their own utilities. Saturday, Times News, buy it.
Buy it.
And if
read the insert.
Yeah, and I will be posting the copies of the insert on social media.
You should go ahead and say whatever.
No, it's all in the plan. You know, and there's another part to that. I'm a big Ed. I'm a big proponent of alternative energies. As if you didn't already hear, and it's all about national security, right? Last thing I want to be is myself, my sons, my daughter, children's cousins, your sons or daughters having to go over the Middle East to fight for oil. So again, develop it here domestically in the U.S. Always trying to balance our natural environment with necessary development. All right, we're winding down for about we're a little running up. Final list of candidates. Okay.
Ed, if that answers your question,
if it's not,
let us know with the thumbs up. If it didn't,
I'll readdress it.
He'll readdress it. Yeah.
Yep. In the meantime, I'll keep going. So I did went down to the Bureau of Elections because the Times News was spotty. They gave final list of candidates for carbon offices as released. And you can see, it's not, maybe that's, I don't know, 30, 35 candidates. Well, then I go down to the Bureau of Elections. Let me see here. Okay, there's one page of about 24. There's 2 pages. And this goes on for 6 pages of candidates. So I don't know where the Times News gives these, small portion list when there's actually 6 pages of candidates from school districts, supervisors, commissioners, and things of that nature. So if you are interested in anyone who is running for county or municipal office in Carbon County, that is on C4 Commissioner Facebook page. That's been posted there.
Ed, thumbs up.
Okay, thanks Ed, and thank you for joining us. And again, you are watching Carbon Matters live streaming. I'm Chris Lukasevich, Republican candidate for Carbon County Commissioner. I'm joined by my wife, Maggie. And again, I want to remind everyone as we're winding down here over the next few minutes that we'll be joined in 2 weeks by Christian Bartulovich, candidate supervisor for Penn Forest Township for the 6-year position. This is Carbon Matters live streaming, and we're sponsored by Ruiz Coffee USA, coming out of Boquete, Cafe Ruiz as we refer to it in Spanish, coming out of Boquete, Panama, but that's actually brought in by Leah Peck in Strongville, Ohio, and she sends that all over the United States. All right, final list of candidates. Oh, there was Carbon OK's Sheriff's Union.
Question.
Yeah.
Eamon asks, what's the efficiency of current solar panels? I know their efficiency wasn't great overall, i.e. cover 15% of a panel, loses 80% of its efficiency.
Yeah, I think that's a great, I'd love to have Walt come down.
Oh, yeah.
Because Walt from WB Electric, he's really big into solar. To find that, because we were actually discussing it potentially for a little project that we had. Yeah. Never took the next step, but I know he's a subject matter expert. Yeah. I do know the solar cells have improved greatly, but I don't know the technical aspects of it. And it's interesting because I've been in contact with a couple solar-centric people, I like to refer to them lately, and I do know that I think we're probably still pulling in too many solar panels from China. So hopefully the president's work there is going to make a change to that. Talking about the president, anyone hear of this Melania person? I got this letter in the mail, Melania. So I got this letter in the mail, and I haven't opened it yet. I don't know if I'm someone special or not, but Melania Trump wrote me, and I was worried that there was going to be like perfume on it or something, but there's not. So you know what? I'm going to open this letter live, just because I'm so curious to what it is. Now I've been like holding on to this for 3 days, waiting for this particular moment. So here it is. To C4 from Melania Trump. I don't know if this is her or the president getting ready to endorse me for Carbon County Commissioner.
I won't be jealous, I promise.
Huh.
Even though the movie star fancy.
What? Presidential pledge of support. Oh, that's to the president, not to me. Oh my gosh, too bad. Let's see. Wow. From the moment my husband Donald placed his hand on the Bible and took the oath of office, he has worked nonstop to deliver on his promise to make America great again. Wow. I look forward to Chris, I look forward to telling Donald that you, C4, are standing with us as he moves forward in his commitment to make America great again. Please let me hear from you soon. Just sign a pledge. Oh, and then contribute some money. I think I'll tell Donald that I'll take care of my own campaign first, and then we'll see where we go from there. But Melania, if you're watching, I want to thank you so much there at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue for writing personally and individually to me, Chris Lukasiewicz, Republican candidate for Carbon County Commissioner. I am so impressed and just so exuberant about the fact that Melania decided to write me C4. Incredible. All right. 2 more to go here. Borough voters will elect mayor and council members. No one is running for office for 2 empty borough seats, vacant borough seats in Perryville. That's disappointing. Wow. That is so disappointing. So Perryville is going to have 2 vacant seats. So for those in Jim Thorpe, there will be 3 people elected to 4-year terms. And we have running on the Democratic side, Jay Miller, Robert Shanninger, Kyle Scheckler, and Michael Yatested. The Democrats will face Republican John McGuire in November. 3 of the 4 will be elected. All right, anything else? Beaver Meadows. All right, there. That Perryville one is the one that really stuck up to me.
Yeah.
Yep. Stuck up. Yeah, stuck out. I'm 2 more. So, kudos to Kathy McGuire, right? The wife of Pete McGuire. I think quite a few of the folks know Kathy. She works down in, it would be the tax assessment office, right? Or down there by, and she was in the clerk of courts. So Kathy McGuire announces her candidacy for Carbon County Clerk of Courts. So we have now her and Fran Heaney, both from Jim Thorpe, running for the same position. I did see, Bob Crampsey, the controller's retiring. I think very highly of Bob personally. I see Tom McCall, the third from Summit Hill, is actually running on the Democratic side to fill Bob Crampsey's position. And on the Republican side, we have a candidate, Mike Severchek, who did a little bit, I think, with Lansford Alive and stuff like that. All right. So we do have some candidates for there. So if you're joining us at this late moment, you are listening to C4 at Carbon Matters live stream. I'm Chris Lukasevich. A couple highlights I want to make. This Saturday, Good Vibrations Dance down at Mock Chunk Ballroom, starting at 7 o'clock. $15 in advance if you call St. Mark's, right? And $20 at the door. So it's a will call, but you need to call down, reserve your ticket, and then it'd be $15. Or you show up, and then it's a $20 donation that supports a legal fund to help preserve the structural integrity and irreplaceable elements of St. Mark's. So
it's going to be a fun Beach Boys theme, kind of, Good Vibrations, and it's casual, just have a great time. There's people talking about bringing their kids, but it's also going to be,
Isn't it adults only? Because the alcohol?
No, because there were so many people saying they were bringing their kids, and it's just going to be fun. Just get out there and dance and have a blast, and it's multi-generational because it's just fun music, and no one's going to get sloppy drunk or anything like that. So it's just
All right. Yeah, sure, right. Yeah, you don't say that around here because we'll make her a liar. We'll make her a liar. We'll prove her wrong. I promise you. So hey, also next Thursday, tune in to Penns Peak Radio 9 to 10, where I, Chris Lukasevich, will be joining once again Bob Matthews on the Morning Lifeline from 9 to 10. I really enjoyed talking with Bob Matthews. So tune in from 9 to 10, pennspeakradio.com. And for those of you who are radio aficionados, I would tell you, if you had previously listened to the doc on WLSH, you like his style of radio rum and, I don't know, there's a couple R's he throws in there. He is broadcasting again. I know Eamon, your brother Pete listens to him, or at least he likes his Facebook page, Colossal Radio out of 1st Street in Lehighton. Just a couple buildings down from where the recruiting station used to be, kind of catty corner across from the old Army-Navy store. That might be like 195 South 1st Street or something like that. And keep a lookout for Doc next week, because he's going to have a photo bomb, because his video camera actually projects out to the road. And I went in and talked to him the other day, and I said, Doc, just to let you know, I'm giving you a heads up, you're going to have a big photo bomb sometime next week. So keep tuned. So feel free to live stream the Doc on Colossal Radio, broadcasting out of Lehighton. You can see it there. June 6, 2019, 75th anniversary of D-Day. Up at Penns Peak, a big event coming up. Recognize our World War II veterans, and they are literally a dying breed, unfortunately. So this might be the last major event here in Carbon County to recognize them. Of course, we will have a 75th end of World War II VE Day, VJ Day coming up. But Penns Peak, June 6, 2019. CarbonRemembersDday.org. Tickets are available, $20 donation. 6 to 7 swing time gals. 7:15, Miss Emily McManaman will sing God Bless America. Many of you might not know Emily herself, but I know some of you know Karen Krishulik or Mr. Krishulik, who was a teacher in Jim Thorpe High School. So that would be his granddaughter, Karen's daughter. Will be singing God Bless America. The Pennsylvania National Guard, the tag. The Adjutant General has agreed to provide a color guard for that event. And then starting at 7:30 till about 10:30, 10:45, we'll be showing The Longest Day, directed by Daryl Zanuck, based on the book by Cornelius Ryan. So that's going to be a great event. So again, this is Chris Lukasevich. I want to thank you all for joining us this evening. We were running fast. I look forward in 2 weeks to re-engaging and having a conversation with Christian. and another invited guest who's another candidate supervisor. They'll be joining us here on Carbon Matters. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to hear my opinions, my thoughts, helping us all work together to be better informed voters,
Yes.
And having this chat type of conversation that's taking place. And again, I want to emphasize the importance of tuning into the Times News, as I like to say, on Saturday for this insert that will be in there. Now, this is a high gloss version. Trust me, the Times News will not do the high gloss version. This is a special version that's going out to the northern tier municipalities, since they tend to read the Standard Speaker and not the Times News. But 7,000 residences in Carbon County will be receiving this, and I hope you're one of them.
Yes.
To be receiving that. And then once this goes live here on Saturday, then I will start talking a lot more, if you haven't already heard, about my vision, return on investment, and the choice that you're going to have to make, or the choice you have to make on 21 May. So again, and finishing up, Cafe Ruiz, Ruiz Coffee USA, the official coffee of C4 and Carbon Matters live streaming. C4 merchandise is still available. All you got to do is make a contribution in person. Just come over to the swag, come over to the C4 headquarters. You can normally come in Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7:30 to 9:30 in the evening, or just give me a shout, drop me an email. You know, give me a reasonable donation, and you too can be wearing C4 swag, right? Showing your support. Also, mugs. I always will have a carafe or a pot of coffee on, so your first cup of coffee with a donation gets you not only the mug, but the coffee to go with it.
Marianne wants to know if Cafe Ruiz comes in K-cups.
No, it does not. It used to come in little,
with little packets.
little packets.
Yeah, you tear them off and just pour them right in. And
Yes, but it does not come in K-cups.
No.
Nope. But you can buy that little insert.
a little insert and put it in there yourself.
Yep, you're right. I never liked those though.
I know.
All right.
Too fast.
So again, sorry for keeping you longer. It is 9 o'clock, 2100 hours here on 1200 block of Center Street in Jim Thorpe, C4
Campaign
headquarters. Yep. So again, thank you guys so much. I want to do a special shout out to all those great individuals who first and foremost helped with the petition solicitation and signing. Extremely successful, truly exceeded my expectations. And I met myself hundreds of wonderful people throughout Carbon County who signed the petition to get me on the ballot. I secondly want to do a special shout out to Larry, Marianne, and Scott, who joined me last night for some envelope letter stuffing and stuff like that. What great company. And I know at 8:45 tomorrow morning, you got a special trip, a special mission, as we start proliferating C4 kind of from its epicenter, working our way out. So you know who you are. I look forward to seeing you. It'll be a great morning of some good physical labor and hard work as we tour around the company.
And Chris is wearing his mandals.
Yes, I am. All right, great. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great evening. We'll see you all in 2 weeks. And again, C4 Commissioner Chris Lukasiewicz, Republican candidate for Carbon County Commissioner. If it matters to you, it matters to me. Have a great night. Thanks, guys.